welcome to the NUFC talk podcast. Almost forgot the name there. Yeah.
Is that a rough yawn?
Yeah. If anyone who hasn't told yet, it's been a rough one. It's been a rough one. There was some beers, some vodka consumed last night, and I'm definitely feeling it this morning, this afternoon, this evening. I know, yeah. When you forget you actually had the whiskey as well. Woke up and said, some beers, some vodka. Definitely did make us feel amazing, and walked downstairs and realised I went for the whiskey cabinet as well. So yeah, I can't remember drinking that whiskey, so you might have to carry us through a bit here, mate. If I start mumbling even more than I already do, I apologise, but we will be talking about Bournemouth game. So if anyone's unsure what we're talking about, it's Bournemouth.
Get the tango in you, get the sugar in you.
That's it, sugar.
Get the sugar rush on the go.
How's your weekend been, mate?
Pretty quiet really. Just starting about, kids stuff really. Bit of baking cookies and that with the kids. But other than that, when the match, that was probably the worst part of it.
Yeah, I know. Almost spoiled our weekend going there, didn't it? So, do you just want to dive straight into it, mate, shall we?
Yeah, mate.
So, we had no war flags, as obviously a nod of respect to Queen Elizabeth, which I think everyone agreed was the right thing to do. But yeah, it definitely affected the atmosphere of the entire game, wasn't it? It was a bizarre feeling.
Yeah, it was quite flat. I don't just think it was the war flags. I think the war flags, the silence, the no music beforehand, all that whole sort of atmosphere. Just like that St James wasn't really bouncing.
Yeah.
And I think it carried on, and then that atmosphere carried on at the game, and then Bournemouth had played a blind on the first sort of 20-25 minutes. Just every time the ball went out, it just took an age to take everything. They slowed the game down, and it was dead. Like, yeah, it was just like a stop-start game for the first bit. And I think they sucked life out the crowd really quickly. Like,
it was like there was you could see a lot of fans trying to get going. There was chance the crowd just never got going with back-to-back chants and whatnot, and it was when we were driving back, we tweeted TalkSport. They actually read out our tweet on TalkSport, but then when they realised it didn't help their narrative that they were trying to play, they very quickly moved on from it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if anyone who was listening to TalkSport about quarter to 6 on Saturday, we compared the game of Liverpool versus Newcastle. Everybody hammered Newcastle for time wasting, which I don't think we did loads of.
Yeah.
Maybe towards the back end of the game, like everyone does. Sat deep and all the
breaking the play, all the dark arts and all that.
Yeah, the commentators like we deserved to lose. Bournemouth did exactly the same. Bournemouth were time wasting from the first whistle as well, and fair play to them. Bournemouth came with a very, very clear game plan, which is break this game down, have it super slow. If the ball goes off for throw-in, dry the ball, look for a second ball, like whatever it was slow the game down. And the narrative is Bournemouth played really well.
I know, yeah. Benitez got hammered for 2 years at Newcastle for having 20% possession and trying to win games of football like that. Hammered for ruining football.
Yeah, but starting 11, we had Pope, we had Trippier, we had Shah. The big surprise I think was Burn and Target at the back. So Botman was put to the bench, which we'll jump on in a second.
Yeah,
Bruno started. He had Willock and Joe Linton in the middle with him. Then up top we had Miggy on the right, Isak in the middle, and Fraser on the left.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on the?
Well, I think the bottom one was a bit surprising. Didn't expect that. You definitely miss him feeding it in midfield, but
so why do you think?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it was just I don't know. I couldn't understand it. Really, I've had an extra week off. You got a week away now, so I couldn't really understand it unless it's a meritocracy and Burns being class in training. He's look sharp. To be fair, I said this to you on the way back. Burns probably unlucky because he doesn't really deserve to be able to start 9. He's actually played really well, but we need to improve. You're not going to progress us as a club by buying a centre half to sit behind Burn and Shaw. You need to improve on that, and Botman will be eventually.
Yeah.
Well, he does look class, but I thought Dan Burn did all right. The other one was no Anderson on the bench.
He picked up a knock.
Was that what it was?
Yeah,
Because I
so
wasn't sure why that was, but that was.
I read that on Saturday evening. He had it's just described as a small knock, so we'll probably see him about February going to Newcastle.
One of Callum Wilson's knocks.
Aye, that's it.
But yeah, he was obviously a miss as an impact off the bench, but we'll get at that later on. But
Yeah.
other than that, good to see Bruno back, although I didn't think he looked super sharp. He still was like...
Yeah, he wasn't at his back to his best, was he?
No, but he's still head and shoulders out in the midfield of anybody else.
So first thing I've got down is the Trippier and Miggy working together on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of fans actually talk about this. I think defending Miggy now is becoming so easy because Trippier is working magic with the little lobs he does over the top, the little dinks he puts through for him.
Yeah.
But every time Miggy's getting put through, he has to turn back on himself and he ends up passing the ball back to Trippier, who stood about 5 yards from him. Trippier has nowhere else to go, so plays it infield to Willock. And when you're playing against a team that was like playing a 4-5-1 or a 5-4-1, they were just getting absolutely mobbed. And like, if Miggy has a right foot, gets that ball across, it just gives us such more of a dynamic. But everybody knew every single time it's going to go down the right. Miggy can't cross. He cuts back in. He has to give it back to Trippier because there's just a sea of players. And
also,
there's a groundhog there.
It's not just the impetus in the attack, but also like every attacker's run is then like you make the run into space because Almiron's got space to hit the ball across. So you make your run, then it gets recycled, comes back, and then you got to jump back out, make your run again, and get across. You know what I mean? It must be frustrating. Like I've written that down. Like I was like, it's becoming now like really tedious watching Miggy play. As much as he grafts and works hard and all that, and that's to a certain extent should be a given for a guy getting paid an absolute mountain to play football. He should work really hard, but he does graft hard for the team. He absolutely loves getting back. He loves getting his foot in it. And he will always be applauded for that.
Because I said to you, after I think it was half time after we were chatting about this, why didn't they just switch over Fraser and Miggy?
And there's been a lot of chat about that. Like
I understand with Maxi cuts in on his right. That's why he plays on the left wing. But Maxi can actually do bits with his left foot as well. It's not just for standing on.
Yeah.
Whereas Miggy is just so one-footed, it's unbelievable. So fair enough, when ASM comes back in, he is going to go on the left. But for these two players who were playing terrible, we didn't really have anything to bring off the bench. Just swap them over, see what's going to happen. Like,
it's a bit of a strange one that.
Just try something different because we were just hitting a brick wall every time.
Yeah, I think the switching over is a fair argument because there's a still frame doing the rounds of like Miggy getting in behind and just the problem I find with Miggy is it's not even like I don't think I've ever seen him attempt a crossover. For all he knows, he might have a fucking great right foot. he's never ever tried it. Like I've never seen him just like swing his right foot and see if he can shank one in somehow. Like he's never ever tried. That's what I find the most frustrating between him doing that, turning out every time, and Trippier's putting him through like I say, lovely little balls, and the work that like Willock and Trippier when Joe Linton came over and sort of switched over, they worked it really well, and Miggy always finds space, and Trippier's always really high, and they work those little triangles really well to get Miggy behind, but it's so wasteful. He just turns back. And the other side, between Fraser and Target, especially Fraser, he was like non-existent.
Yeah,
like one chance that he attacked his fullback and then tried to put across him, but like.
It's a bad day at the office for our left-hand side. I think I sent you the stat. Target got dribbled past 4 times out of 4. Didn't stop any. And Fraser, like, bar a couple of shots, which he probably could have done better than. I can't remember him doing much else.
Do you know getting into the byline and that sort of inside channel? Like, Willock did it a few times, so Joe Linton did it a couple of times, and they put balls in. If someone's attacking the front post and get across their man, they're not all awful balls. If Callum Wilson is there, he's more of a natural predator. I don't think Isak's that kind of player.
Well, you think that the Forest goal was a Joe Linton put him through.
Wilson's man.
Yeah, he attacks the front post. Like you think back to a bunch of Callum Wilson goals, it's a lot of attacking the front post, the front post. Whereas Isak seems to naturally drift towards the back post, and I don't know if that's because he's 6'4". He feels like he wants to come and attack the ball.
Yeah,
Wilson's not a short guy, but he's a different type of player.
I just think there's a difference in sort of predatory instinct of,
Yeah.
of Wilson is like an out and out goal scorer.
But their keeper had a field day, and you could feel everyone was getting frustrated as the keeper was just scooping the ball up on the edge of his 6-yard box. Must have been
Every time,
half a dozen times. It was so frustrating to watch.
The only thing that really happened in the first half was that like the
And a couple of
chances, all circulated around like, I think it was maybe 3 minutes worth of action that was for the crowd.
Trippy hit the post off a free kick.
Yeah, won by Bruno, which was nice footwork from him.
Joe Linton, I think it's a bit you mentioned there.
Yeah.
Where Joe Linton hit the post, came back out free, had a dig. I think he was near the edge of his box, and we were at the Lee's end, so it was down near the end of the pitch. It looked like a world lever save, but when you see it, I think the keeper's just put that on for his highlights reel, hasn't he?
Aye, because there was Joe Linton hit the post, and then Joe Linton had a shot as well, saved, and then popped back out, and then kind of recycling Fraser had his shot. But yeah, and that was kind of like, it was like a frustrating game up to half time because we were the better side, but we really did lack the creativity.
Yeah.
And I think Isak's just finding his way into the team. Like, he's coming short sometimes where you think get him behind. He's getting him behind where you think come short. Like, he's just figuring out. I don't think the ball. I think it's with Bruno on the ball, you can make runs. It's no point making them with like Joe Linton and Willie. They don't see the pass the same way the other guys do.
Yeah, it was a funny game, and at half time, I think the general feeling around St James's is going to be one of them games. Because I know I said it, I could hear a few other people having conversations as well. It feels going to be frustrating. We're going to get hit in the break. They'll have one chance and score. Straight from half time, we just didn't wake up. They had a really good chance within the first 30 seconds of the second half kicking off, which was horrendous. And I think that's when I said to you, I was like, how have we not woke up? You thought Eddie would be ripping into them at half time, but is he the hairdryer manager? Maybe not. But there's got to have something to say, look, we're not giving enough. And that start within 30 seconds, Bournemouth cut us apart.
Yeah.
I think everybody knew what was going to come in that second half. And the next bit was, Fraser had another chance, which was a scuff shot.
He should do better with that. Like,
yeah, I agree.
He really should do better. Who's it? I can't remember who finds him. Is it?
And was it Miggy? Did Miggy pull up?
No, I think maybe Bruno again. I can't remember. But yeah, it's like way to pass nice for him to run onto, and he puts it just a couple of feet wide. Like, probably got to do better. He's got to hit the target really.
And then 62 minutes is when Billings scored.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like Shaw switching off or if there's no one tracking him in midfield.
Oh, I watched it a couple of times there just before we pressed record, and it's Burns playing on side. So the other three defenders have all got a line, and Burns
too deep, is he?
Too deep, and he's the one he's the only one who puts his hand up offside. So I don't know if that was like a clutching at straws, but yeah, he was the one that played him on.
So you putting the arm in the air these days. What's the point?
Yeah,
fucking VAR.
Near post got done, and then that was 1-0. I think everyone was fevering the worst a little bit there.
Yeah, it had the sort of Palace kind of game written all over it, like, and then that was, I thought, oh, no.
Penalty next, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically,
a few minutes between the goals. I think we're gonna whiz through the game pretty quick because there's a lot to talk about, which is what came from the game. But the game itself was pretty fucking shit to watch.
It was shite, like.
Yeah,
it was shite. And also, usually we had a skinful, but we were both absolutely sober.
I know, yeah. I was trying to think last time I went to the game without having a beer at all, and I can't think back to years and years to the point where I can't even think what game it was.
Aye.
So yeah.
So I remember it all.
Yeah, I remember.
It was all shite.
All 96 minutes of just frustrating.
I can't remember who put, was it Sham? Maybe they put the ball over the top for Trippier. Might have been, I can't remember. I actually don't think I've watched the highlights back, but
yeah, you didn't miss much. Is
it a pen though? Eh?
It is a pen, yeah. It is a penalty. Isak steps up, takes the pen. First goal at St James's Park, and I felt sorry.
Good pen, by the way.
Good pen. Nobody went and celebrated with him.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah. Look, fair enough, it was 1-1 against Bournemouth. I know it was get the ball back and get kicked off again. I thought, no one even went and gave him like a high five or like a arm round him. He just went and celebrated, turned around, realised there was no one with him.
So, and then he tried to get the ball, didn't he?
Yeah. So trotted back. Then This is the part where we made some subs on the 72nd minute.
Aye.
We had Longstaff on for Bruno. Murphy came on for Fraser. This shows right now is the squad depth, and we're not arguing about squad depth where we should have spent another however much money. This is the part where I feel the pundits are getting stuck under Newcastle. Saying, oh, you spent 200 million, and that's why TalkSport love jumping on this bandwagon, and there's a few other reporters love saying, oh, we should be pushing for top 6 and top 4, like, because we spend 200 million. That's utter bollocks. Like, all these other teams that spent 150, 200 million, 250 million, they've spent it on top of a decent squad or a top 6 team.
Yeah.
All of us Newcastle fans know that we had an absolute bare basic squad which was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, we did any Newcastle fan will know, we didn't have a squad which was by a handful of players was Premiership quality. So for us to go and spend 200 million is give us a decent starting 11 which can compete.
Yeah.
As soon as you pick up some injuries, then have to make some subs, you realise half that team isn't good enough to compete. And this is what the problem was here. We had a starting 11 which all of them wouldn't be in the starting 11 if everyone was fit. And then when some legs start to go, our only game changes is Longstaff and Jacob Murphy.
I know, yeah. It's dire straits. Like when you're looking at when you see the bench and no Anderson, you're like, oh fuck, no Anderson.
Yeah.
Who's gonna come on and change the game?
There's the lads that stood behind us, and their conversation I've heard many times over. Oh, what's happened to Anderson? What's happened to Anderson? I think that's what you were mentioning there. He's only made half a dozen appearances off the bench, and we're already clambering saying, "Oh, we're missing Anderson off the bench."
Yeah.
Because who else is it? Like, there's Murphy comes off, and Murphy seems to be getting friggin' worse.
He's getting
Week
worse.
by week, yeah.
He's getting worse, man. He's absolutely awful now. Like, he's gone from being really like a bang average, barely scraping by Premier League player. That a sign from Rafa that didn't work really.
Yeah.
To now, like, he's a proper he's a average championship player. He really is. Like,
I completely agree. Then our third substitute came in the 85th minute, and it was Wood for Miggy. The only thing I think I would have done differently, because we watched Wood come on, he went straight over to Isak, told him he's playing out wide. Who went on the right? Murphy went over onto the right.
Yeah.
Wood went in the middle. For the last 5 minutes, Bournemouth were sitting deep, man. Like, Dan Burn was our last man, and he was playing on like halfway in Bournemouth.
Quarterback, wasn't he?
Yeah. What I think we should have done is, let's roll the dice, let's see what happens. Switch to a 4-4-2. You still got the two wide men, you still got the two overlapping full-backs that can do that. Then you've just got two men in the different, two big lads up top. It just gives a centre half something different to think about. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I
was kind of saying about 10, 15 minutes earlier, maybe less than that, we should look to get Wood on, either for Isak or shift Isak wide, because we were putting balls in the box. It just wasn't being attacked by somebody.
There wasn't enough bodies.
Sorry,
go on.
I was going to say, so if Wood's there, like, although Wood's not great, but he can attack the ball.
Yeah.
But
and
damned if you do, damned if you don't. If he goes to 4-4-2, he get caught in the break again, and get done fucking 2-1 at home.
But we're just thinking the back four was exactly the same.
Yeah.
So you're not really changing too much in the defensive structure.
Yeah.
I just think it should have tried something different. The 4-4-3, that'd have been a good one to play. 4-3-3, I like us playing that. It's great for the press. But sometimes you have to roll the dice, make a change. Yeah. Like, Bournemouth had clearly figured out what was happening every single time. So I think we should have just tried something a little bit different to try.
And the last 10 minutes, Bournemouth weren't trying to win the game.
No.
They would have. It's frustrating because it's not. A lot of people saying we were really poor on Saturday. We weren't really poor in a sense of like Brighton, where we were outclassed, or like back a couple of years ago where it was awful to watch. We had a shit ton of the ball. We recycled the ball really, really well. We won the ball high at the pitch a few times, but generally we just recycled it.
Yeah.
We just played a bunch of shit players, like that's when it comes down to it. Willock and Joelinton are brilliant in transition to great high energy.
Yeah.
But when you want midfield that are going to unlock defences,
Yeah.
they're not good. They're not going to do that, which is where I think we really miss Shelby because it pushes Bruno further forward. He can do that. Every little pass that slid on the corner, puts Miggy in behind it, it all comes from Bruno. Like, it's always Bruno.
Mm-hmm.
The midfielders that make the runs in behind, they're Joe Willock and Joelinton because they get license to do that.
And even when Maxi gets the ball, he drags the extra defender over it, which creates an extra hole where you see Joelinton hit that hit that spot because the centre half's gone over, creating an overlap and a spare body straight away. I also think that they knew the game plan. We weren't even trying to go down the left. Every time was give the ball to Trippier.
And also,
give the ball to Trippier.
It was the game plan was to get the ball to Trippier, and we didn't even do it all the time. How many times were we sat there watching us not pass the ball to Trippier? And I was like, he's in here, guys. Get the ball right to Trippier. How many times?
When he had space,
we took too long.
50,000 joys. Like Trippier's in space, and then when he had no space, everyone's like,
give the ball to Trippier. Yeah. To be fair, Trippier I think he had a good game. I think he's probably our best player. Like comfortably, probably. I think Bruno had a good. Teddy first half he was good, but he's just a class above. Like what he does with the ball is just used it really, really well. But he ran out of steam. Like he looked like second half.
Trippier.
No, Bruno.
Yeah. I think that's just match fitness, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. But yeah, like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you try and go to that 4-4-2, but I won't hear me say it very often, but I was calling for Wood because we were getting the ball, we were getting to the byline, often we were getting balls into the box. It was just popping into keeper's hands.
Mm-hmm.
And do you know what it is? I think we look really most threatening from set pieces, really.
Because we've got Trippier.
Yeah. Except we tried those funky ones early on.
Yeah, there was some interesting ones.
Joelinton take the corner. I was like, what's he doing?
You can tell about an extra week off, haven't you? Where there's just trying to look. Let's get creative. Let's keep everyone entertained and keep everyone engaged in these extra weeks of training. So,
but all in all, like it's a missed opportunity. That
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it was a missed opportunity, and I know like people say, you can't like criticize the new owners. You can't criticize, and you can criticize Eddie Howe when he's made mistakes. I'm not sure you can do much more when Fraser and Miggy are two wide players. If you sit and watch 90 minutes of Miggy, it's just the same thing. Like, as you say, he turns out, pirouettes, back out, pops it back off.
Yeah.
In behind, any other winger I've ever seen will be whipping it across.
Yeah.
Or attacking his man. There was one time he went to go on the outside and he ran the ball to play.
Yeah.
or he tried to Cruyff turn back in. It's given away. That's the only time he was like, actually, I'm going to trick him and go this way.
So what you mentioned there, because I don't know if you noticed, Janice, but I had a couple of viral tweets.
Oh, you're going viral again, weren't you?
Just a few times. So yeah, on the Saturday evening, I tweeted, because we're interested in your thoughts on this as well. NUFC fans booing the players off.
Yeah.
And people saying, is Eddie under pressure? Can you remember 12 months ago? Like, this is embarrassing. Something like that. The tweet was something like that. I don't know, went to like 50,000 people or something like that. And in the feed, and in the tweet, there's lots of arguments going backwards and forwards saying, it's part of the process, got to understand, it is what it is. We still have, to me, we aim for top 10. If we do top 10, brilliant. For these other fans that are still going nuts, like we have a bunch of players injured. We are still better off than we were this time last year. These games are going to happen.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts? Like the booing for starters.
I think it's probably a combination of back-to-back draws and that kind of thing. I think if it's given isolation, the fans don't get booed off. Is it ought to be a blip? But because of Palace, and because of what is it? 5 draws now, 6 draws, something like that.
Something like that.
Because of
5.
Because
so
of that,
1 win, 5 draws, and 1 defeat.
Because of the combination, I think of Palace and then this back-to-back, and because it's Bournemouth, I think people are more pissed off. But people got to realise, if you take De Bruyne, Haaland, and I don't know, like who's the next best player, Rodri or something out of Bernardo Silva, out of them, they're not the same side. Like out of City, they're not the same. We've been missing all of our best players basically. Defensively, we've been solid because we're defensively solid because we've got our workhorses and we've got our back four and all that, and we've got to keep that. But we're missing all our creative players. Have been missing, and only one of them was back today, and he didn't on the weekend. He didn't look himself in terms of up to speed yet. So I don't think we should be booing people off. I think we've just got to recognise where we are.
Mm-hmm.
Like what are we meant to do when we're bringing on fucking Murphy?
Yeah. So why do you think some fans just don't understand football? I don't mean this offensively. Like, is it the same ones? Because a lot of Newcastle fans also said in the tweet, the same people booing on Saturday are the ones that were booing Bobby Robson years ago.
I just think I don't know. They're probably the people that have given Newcastle the tagline of I think we're a top 4 team and all that sort of jazz. I don't know. Like, people's expectations have been warped. When you spend 200 million over 2 windows, people expect like instant success. But it's as I mentioned before. It's where I've come from. It's an absolute standing start.
Mm-hmm.
It's building a squad from what feels like scratch, except an injury-prone striker.
Yeah,
and
Maxi,
and a kind of injury-prone winger. Like he's yet to do. He's probably yet to do 15 games in a row, Maxi. Probably. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe his first season, I don't know, but like, and yeah, so like it's a standing start. So
coming next week, and the next game is Fulham away.
Okay, can I say before that? Although I do think though this is the first time there will be genuine pressure now. A little bit of pressure. I do think for the first time there'll be media pressure. There'll be a bit more fans being a bit more disgruntled. I have seen some people on some Twitter numbers being like, Eddie Howe's not the right man. Like, we're not ready for a Conte or anything yet. We're nowhere near that sort of standard of like we need like guys who help build us and drag us up the league and get us towards the top 4. I think Eddie Howe's like still 100%, absolutely 100% backing him, but there will be media pressure for the first time, I think.
Because that's what I was going to ask. I'm not jumping into the Fulham one yet. I'm still on Bournemouth. And talking about the fans as well. If the Fulham result doesn't go the way we want it to go, does that pressure then people then asking, I think so, is Eddie the man?
Because he's saying 8 games in them, 1 win in 8 games. Although we're sat 10th now, we'll probably be 12th, 13th then.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends. If Maxi and Cal Wilson might be back, he's only out for 2 weeks, only.
It's bad, isn't it? With 8 games in and Wilson's played 3 and went off 1 injured.
Do you know what it is? You really don't want to go into Craven Cottage like right now as well. They're playing all right, you know.
Mitrovic and yeah.
Do you know the way they're playing? Like and hopefully Maxi has a couple of 10 days of training.
Mm-hmm.
Bruno plenty more training. Like, is he going to Brazil? Going to Brazil, is he? Bruno? Aye.
I don't know, to be honest.
Maybe, I don't know if they're playing. I don't imagine they will be. But anyway, yeah.
I'm not too familiar with the Brazilian national team fixture list, mate, sorry.
But yeah, if hopefully we'll get those players back. That's the big difference. Like, but yeah, for the first time there will be pressure. Like, I'm not saying it's coming from 99% of Newcastle fans. It won't be.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be trusting the process and all that kind of thing. But there will be. And it won't be real pressure. It'll just be bullshit talk sport shite, man. Jamie O'Hara just churn out some crap, or Cundy churn out some crap. Like, that's what it'll be. Like, it won't be actual pressure. It won't be genuine people being like, right, we need to start considering whether he's the right man for the job. It won't be that. It'll just be a talking point, soundbite shit like.
So my Twitter feed is so refreshing now. I don't have the friggin' Luke Edwards in there since he blocked.
Did he block you?
Blocked us for daring to challenge one of his tweets a few weeks back. You know, it's the Saudi shit. Do you remember the
oh yeah,
the Wolves game? He started going about how embarrassing it was, and anyway.
Oh yeah, that shit's nice.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, Fulham then, mate. Fulham. Predictions.
Yeah, I've written some positives down.
Go on then, sprinkle some positivity, mate. Go on then, lift us up.
Bruno, not fully fit, but still look great. He couldn't do anything wrong. Bruno could miss a pen. I'd be like, yeah, but he struggled well. And Trippier again, Trippier still, like, he looks like, yeah, they're my positives.
That's it.
That's my list of positives. My negatives are, well, obviously we've just gone through them, but a little bit of concern about Joe Willock and Joe Linton. A little bit of concern.
Nah, I think it was just a bad day at the office. Their job is to to work, run a lot, and when we're not used to being that team that's camped on the edge of the 18-yard box of the other team, we don't know how to unlock them. It didn't fit their style of play.
Yeah, do you know we'll play brilliant against sides like Spurs and City and Liverpool and stuff like that want the ball, and we can spring on them high and we can take the ball from the right. Like we'll be brilliant against them. In actual fact, I scrolled out negative about Joe Linton, Willock and Target, and what I'd actually written was they've actually been good, just not what the heights they hit last season.
Yeah,
like they all hit incredible heights last season. Maybe set their standards higher than really they're capable of consistently hitting.
So you mentioned Target there, and now Eddie's tinkering with the back four a little bit. Do you think we could see Botman coming in at centre half and Byrne going back out to left back? Cause I think Target's he was probably, that's the worst game we've seen him in, for him to get skinned 4 times. And we even mentioned last week Target's a really good defender 1-on-1.
Yeah.
For him to get beat 4 times in one game against Bournemouth.
I know, yeah. He's generally been pretty solid. And 1-on-1, it doesn't really let you down. Nah, I still think you stick Target. We're signing for a reason. It gives you more natural balance. He's better on the ball than Byrne would be.
I think that Dan Byrne was probably had most of possession for us, didn't he?
He was like QB, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was playing the Shelby role at one point. He was just sapping the ball about.
Oh, aye, that last 10 minutes was so frustrating to watch, wasn't it? One thing to say, actually, before moving on from the Bournemouth game, is we dominated the ball, we played better, we didn't create anything, all that sort of stuff, and it was a different kind of frustrating performance, not one where we like sat back and we're just awful. But we were lucky at times as well, because Christie, if he could see a pass or could pull the trigger at the right time, fucking hell, boy, he is shit. Like,
they were well drilled, but yeah.
Like, they had chances where a little bit of quality, it's basically like watching Newcastle and the Rafa, like breaking forward and then Murphy passes it behind somebody. That's kind of what it was like, because they a bit more quality.
They could have had 2 or 3, like.
They really could have, you know. So, yeah.
Christie was their number 10.
Aye, yeah. I'm sure it's Christie. I'm sure that's Christie.
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I remember looking at the Bournemouth starting 11. I was thinking, is it Solanke that the other top?
Billings, he was at Huddersfield a couple of years ago and looked decent, like, and they signed him from Huddersfield.
Bar them two, I was like looking at the team thinking, but we should be pulling this team
turns
apart.
out Pedro Neto a net from he was class on your own net. Like, he had a good game, although there were savable saves. Anyway, moving on, onwards and upwards, bigger and better things. Fulham away,
Mitrovic,
London / Mitro.
Yeah, we've got to be looking for a win there to start getting some momentum going and calming down everybody a little bit, because these are the type of things which I don't think our owners would think this way, because pretty thick-skinned with what they do anyway.
Yeah.
But this is the type of media pressure and fans that causes unnecessary negativity.
Yeah.
And Newcastle have had such a positive place for so long.
Yeah.
We really need to fucking win.
I think we really need to win as well. You have to remember as well, though, like, if we weren't robbed of those Palace points, right, and we got away with this shitty point at Bournemouth, would have been sat 7th now. Mm-hmm. Just those 2 points alone put us in 7th. Then everyone's saying, all right, it wasn't great against Bournemouth, but we're still in the Europeans. Like, that's the difference. So when it all said and done, and it won't be talked about throughout the season because it gets forgotten about those decisions, but like, that's what we need to remember. Like, if we aren't robbed of that 3 points and we've got 2 more points, we're sat in 7th, 10th, and we are still 10th. Mm-hmm. We were fucking bottom or something, don't we? Last year we hadn't won. We didn't win. In fact, we didn't win for another 6 games.
That's it, yeah.
Which is nuts to think about.
Another 2 months.
That is unbelievable. Oh yeah. So we are. There is improvement, and like I said again before, it's not frustrating where it was like we were awful today. Mm-hmm. It was frustrating. We still had like 70% possession of the ball. We turned over the ball really, really well.
Yeah.
We just need to get better at these kind of games when we have the ball.
Because that's going to happen more and more as we get.
Yeah.
As we become a better team, other teams lower down are going to resort to sit back, try and hit them on the break. So we're going to have them players which can help unlock it. And it's interesting, a player that we were strongly linked with. We're not linked with. We had 2 bids turned down for.
Or Matters.
Madison, yeah.
Yeah.
Leicester are looking a bit shit at the moment, so it'd be interesting to see if they're still in.
But he's still looking good. He's a jewel in that.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's looking really well. If it comes to January and they're still down there in a relegation scrap, and even if Newcastle's mid-table and we come along and offer some money again.
Yeah. I would love Madison.
Yeah, it'd be great to see a player like him. He's
the kind of guy you want. Then you don't mind Bruno playing deeper if he plays deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Play Bruno in the 6 and play like Joelinton. And my only concern is Madison in an 8, but depends it's a lot of work for Bruno and Joelinton to get through hypothetically, because I like Madison as a 10. But
I know we don't play that type of game. But if you came in, would Shelby sit deep? And this is maybe saying, does that mean Joelinton would drop to the hypothetically?
Whoa!
I know.
J7, are you?
I could go.
Benching J7, everyone. Unbelievable. You fickle. You're a fickle son of a gun.
Yeah. Well, if you wanted to get Bruno and him in the side together,
get 60 million from him now. Get him sold.
Joelinton.
I don't know. Anyway, it's hypothetical.
Yeah.
Because we probably won't sign him anyway. But
so in 5 months, if we sign this guy, we're going to drop Joelinton. Yeah. A random conversation.
So you want some stats on Newcastle v Fulham?
Go on, mate.
Goals. Who scored more goals? Oh, I'm going to quiz you, actually.
Okay.
Who scored more goals?
This season?
Yeah, this season.
Fulham.
Yes. How many have they got?
I don't know, I'm just thinking Mitrovic is doing really well, so that's why.
He's got basically them all, but... I mean,
he definitely hasn't got them all, because I bought Mitro into my fantasy football team.
He hasn't scored since.
He didn't score. When I saw the scores, Fulham won 3-2 at the weekend, didn't he?
Yeah.
I said, get in, Mitro's got to pick up some points there. Not a fucking sausage.
So they've got 12, Newcastle got 9. Who's had more shots?
Newcastle.
Yes, 38 shots. 31 that's on target. Who's conceded more?
Fulham.
Yeah. 11 versus Newcastle 7. Who's missed the most big chances?
Fulham.
Nope. Fulham have missed 8 and Newcastle have missed 11. And who's hit the woodwork more times?
Newcastle.
Well, fucking twice. On Saturday, Newcastle hit the woodwork 5 times to their 2. Mitrovic himself
he's on 6?
He's on 6 and he's had 31 shots himself.
Machine.
Yeah. So there you go. Average goals this season, 1.7 for them. 1.1 for Newcastle. Average goal conceded, 1.6 versus Newcastle 1 per game. And they are 6 with 3 wins, 2 draws and 2 losses.
That's class form for Fulham, isn't it? They've
really
caught everybody off guard.
Yeah, you can get a point against Liverpool in that.
Yeah.
We should have one of them as well. But Fulham away, London.
Are you optimistic?
I am actually. I am. I'm always. Yeah, I think Maxi back. Him being back makes a massive difference.
We're a full fit team. We'll give everyone a go. Look at Liverpool. Look at Man City.
Maxi back also. It might sound daft, but also means that we don't have to bring Murphy off the bench, because we can bring Fraser off, who obviously was anonymous on Saturday. Mm-hmm. But I'd rather see him come off the bench than Murphy. At least, so Fraser might have been anonymous on Saturday,
mm-hmm.
but Murphy wasn't anonymous. He was shit, which is worse than not being. I'd rather him not be there. Just don't turn up like Fraser. Don't turn up and be awful.
Aye. So everyone's fit. Who's our top 3 then?
Oh, I've got this question. Right, so here's my top 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think on Saturday, the substitution when they took off Miggy, right? It was Miggy who took off to bring Wood on, and they pushed Isak out wide. That was a little telltale that maybe Isak has been told at some point he might play wide rather than... He'll probably play at least 50% up top because Wilson will be injured, but when he's fit, he'll be shipped out wide. I'll go ASM, Wilson, Isak.
I agree, yeah. I think you've got to put all 3 on. And, yeah, for the handful of games the season, everyone's fit, which is horrible.
Yeah, and then hopefully you score a bunch at the start, and then you can sub on the workhorses of Miggy and the anonymous Fraser just to tuck it in and work hard and keep it tight. But yeah, I think you got ASM, Wilson, Isak. Although I'm not sure how happy he will be, but I think it was interesting that little side note of Isak being pushed up wide and him not going off. Or
Think back to
am I reading too much into that or not?
No, I think you're right. Like they will push him out wide, but just the more I think about it, I don't understand. For last 5 minutes, why do we not just have two big men in the middle? Isak 6'4", Wood can put himself about. Why didn't we just have two centre forwards?
Just Dan Burn in the middle as well.
Yeah, he did a few marauding runs, didn't he? Didn't you see when he was overlapping?
He overlapping centre off at one point, yeah. But I think it's tricky this against Fulham. They're in good form. They won't want the international break because of
whereas we do.
I don't know. We might not want to just kind of bounce back quickly, but either way, it's coming to them where they've got momentum and we don't have them. We've kind of stalled at the minute, haven't we?
So for us it's at the right time because it gives us Bruno a chance to get fit again.
Yeah.
Hopefully get Maxi and I keep saying Wilson.
I don't know. I think Wilson, he's shown before that when he's fit, he just starts, doesn't he?
You
don't bet him in. He just starts and plays. It's bizarre. Isn't it? He comes back from injury. You haven't seen him for 3 months. Comes back and plays 90 minutes. Scores. Remember, last season when he just came back, he was just like
West Brom.
He's going to sub him on. Nah, start him 90 minutes. He'll be alright.
Yeah.
I'm going to protect him. Yeah, it's literally protect him. He's only made of fucking paper. So maybe you'll see Wilson. I'd be so motivated if I saw that front three.
Who did we play last game of the season again?
Last game of the season?
We relegated them. Who was it?
Who got relegated last season? Norwich, Watford, and who else?
Burnley. No, Burnley, not West Brom.
Oh, that was Burnley.
I was thinking when I say West Brom, I was like, it's not that. It's Burnley, and did Wilson not come in for the last two games? No, anyway.
He starts, doesn't he? And he looks sharp as well, doesn't he? So he's probably used to being
yeah.
Well, he must be.
It's like, look, mate, you're very, very rarely fit, so whenever you can put your boots on, you are starting. You kind of complain because we might not see you again for half a year, so.
It's funny what Eddie Howe says about him, though. If you see Eddie Howe's pre-match press conference talking about him again, and he was just saying he's got an amazing attitude, scores goals, doesn't get too high, doesn't score goals, doesn't get too low, gets injured, doesn't get low, just.
The thing is, if you're a prone injury player, you can't be moping around the dressing rooms and what you actually bring.
Yeah.
10 games a season, I'm going to turn up and give it rock all, but for the other 20 the other 20 games, I'm just going to mope about and bring the attitude of everyone down.
About. Yeah. He's not starting, is he, though? He's going to be too soon for him yet. What's wrong with him? Does anyone know what's up with him?
It was a hamstring, wasn't it, Man City?
Hamstring, was it? He felt his hamstring, went off for precaution.
Yeah.
Never seen again.
Precaution in the third game, and
imagine we stayed on.
Yeah. Now we're hoping he comes back for the 9th game after a weekend of cancelled games and an international break.
Aye. He might. I got a sneaky feeling he's going to be fit. Okay. I think Max is definitely going to be fit.
I want to say we're going to win 2-1.
Yeah, I'm going to say my same thing last week. I'm going to say 3-0. Almost convincing display.
You reckon?
Yeah, I do. Fulham have played well, but they played an off-colour Liverpool. If you guys get high and aggressive, it's a tight pitch there. They won't want to be playing out from the back and stuff, and we get right in their faces, get the ball one high again. I just think Maxi's just such an important player for us as well. He can create something out of nothing.
Before we wrap up, should we mention Maxi then? Because we haven't really spoken too much about the whole Maxi situation, where everyone's now all of a sudden realised what he brings to the team.
Yeah, I think there's absolutely zero question about that now. Anybody who's saying because he gives the ball away 3 times in a game, we should hook him off and play Murphy or Fraser. Honestly, you're off your head. You're absolutely off your head. You haven't got a clue what you're watching. In my eyes,
Maxi is one of them X Factor players where he could walk into most squads and compete for positions. I think we've done really well to hang on to him. And if we didn't get taken over, summer gone, I could see him getting frustrated and wanting to go somewhere if the takeover hadn't happened.
Yeah.
But for us right now, he's someone that we want to be keeping hold of. The fans want to lay off his back, and we've seen with this team how we can create. He's our most creative attacking player that we have.
I think we were lucky to hold on to him, but that was because he was really poorly coached.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't a brilliant player. He was a frustrating maverick under Bruce, who could do things and win games, like the Burnley game where he just like scored a goal, put one on the plate for like Wilson. Like, he could do that, but it was once every 10 games because he wasn't coached at all.
Yeah.
He got the ball so deep, whereas now he is coached. He moves the ball faster. Like
you can see what
he's a better player now. Like, and if he can add goals, he's got a couple. Has he got a couple or one this season? Two.
One or
He's
two.
He's got a couple assists and being involved and but like obviously the goal against Wolves, like
goal of the season, didn't goal of
given
I
don't know, Son had a few he had something to say the other day, didn't he? But that's on the Maxi team, that's a level he's got to get to be considered like that level, and not just a guy that can make things happen and dribble and all sort of stuff. Like Son comes off the bench and scores a hat-trick in fucking 30 minutes, one absolute worldie with his right foot, one absolute worldie with his left foot.
Yeah.
I mean, he is outrageous, isn't he? Like, he is outrageous, but yeah.
It just shows you how far we still have to come and like the quality of players we still need to get hold of.
Yeah, I mean, like you'd take him over Maxi any day of the week, like.
Oh yeah.
And I love Maxi.
Or you just put Maxi on the right and Son can have the left.
Yeah. I'll have Harry Kane as well, actually. But I do think, all in all, like he's so pivotal, and when you see games like this where a little bit of magic might go past one or two players, he's got a guy that he frightens because he can go inside, go outside, he can cut the byline, he can score himself. So like,
well, we've said before, Maxi in the team just creates more space for the players as well.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. 3-0 win. Maxi score hat-trick in 29 minutes. Right foot, left foot header. Get it right around your Son. Second best left wing in the Premier League, Son.
I'm past the point of guessing who scores now. I just want to have a win, so
yeah, I'll take a Mitrovic on goal.
Yeah, anything off someone's thigh, scramble, anything.
Yeah, big weekend, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm saying 2-1. You're saying 3-0.
So bold.
Yeah.
Well, I really think we've got a big like win us. We've got a big display in us, like, and we should have had it this weekend. We didn't. But I do think we've got that in us, like, and we get a few players back. Yeah.
I mean, how's your FPL doing?
I'm in the exact same points as you, mate. 4-2-5. I had a pretty average week. Got a wild card this week, I think. Everyone's back. A wild card. Don't know what I'm going to do. Probably have Son back in now.
Yeah, you're going to see him.
I took Salah out though. Took Salah. Took a 4-point hit. Take Salah out. Bring Bruno in. I need to bring a midfielder in to replace Salah, and I wanted Kane.
Well, we've got the international break, so maybe next week we'll have a bit more banter about FPL and get some prep for that. But I think that does it, mate, doesn't it?
That's it, mate, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't already, come and grab us on social medias, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. You can find us just by searching NUFC Talk Pod. And if you want to get us individually, I'm Glenn_NUFC.
At NUFC Yanis. Is that Yanis NUFC?
I just start getting this wrong. It's Yanis NUFC.
Yeah, at Yanis NUFC.
So if you want some more viral tweets, follow me. If you want to see someone who doesn't know his name,
shit crap, follow me.
Yeah. But cheers. Make sure you subscribe and hit all the buttons, and we shall catch you next week. Cheers.